Hey guys, YouTube Drone Doctor here. We're going to do things a little bit differently than what I normally do. It is June 10th, 2016, and those of you that have been asking me to do these videos every week or every other week, I'm going to do the best I can. These videos are very, very time consuming, and one thing that you should always keep in mind, take a look at the date that they are created, because this industry is moving so fast. The stuff that we filmed a year ago, things on the Q500 for example, those things were relevant then, and a lot of the information that we put out, nobody knew. And we were trying to figure this stuff out at the same time that you were, and we were trying to get that information out to you as fast as we could. So please keep that in mind when you're viewing these videos, and we're trying to get this information out as quick as we can, and things change, firmware changes, and we find out information later on that we find out that was a little bit false, even when we contact some of the manufacturers. Some of the information that we obtained from Unique directly, we found out to be different when we did field testing. So we tried to get that information out to you as soon as we found out that the stuff was different. So today we're going to talk really briefly about the DJI Phantom 4 series of drone, UAV, whatever you want to call it. Also, I want to touch base real fast. If you haven't purchased or picked up, it's actually free, the Hover app, H-O-V-E-R, Hover. I really recommend that you guys get it because it's really good on keeping you up to date on what's relevant today on things that are happening in the UAV industry. It's free to download. I don't work for them or anything. I'll put a little link down here. I talk a little bit about that app and what it does and some of the things. It's really a good app. But anyway, back to the Phantom 4. I owned or have owned or still own quite a few drones, and the Phantom 4 is my go-to drone that I just absolutely love playing with. Yes, it's a little bit pricey right now at this point in time, but for an overall package, I absolutely love this UAV. You can use this thing, as you see down here. I have some of I have the Headplay HD, which is probably one of my favorite goggles to use for FPV for using this bird. I also have here the Fat Sharks, and I love using the Fat Shark also. This works really well, but you don't get as much of an immersive feeling. And me personally having a fat head, I find that I get better field of view and immersive feeling when I'm using the Headplays. So for me personally, I love flying with my Headplays. That doesn't mean that the Fat Shark is a bad goggle. It's just I use them both, but I find myself for immersive feelings going to the Headplay a little bit more. But sorry, getting off track. The Phantom 4, Father's Day is coming up. If you're looking to pick up Dad something, would I recommend, if he's never flown before, would I recommend the Phantom 4? Yes and no. That bird over there is the GDU bird. Do I think that the standard edition bird would work just as well, if not better, for a person learning how to fly? I do. I really love flying that GDU bird. It's been a really fun UAV to fly. Now, I'm not working for either one of these companies. I can just tell you personally that I love using both of them. But you got to remember that if you're brand new to this hobby and you want to get your first UAV and you want to make it really simple to get it up in the air and take off, could you get a Phantom 4 for your first UAV? Yes. Is it more practical to get something like the like the X-Star or the GDU? For me, my personal opinion, I think that's the way to go. It's a lot easier to get it up in the air. Think of it this way: if you were trying to learn how to drive, would you go out and purchase yourself a Shelby Mustang or the GT350? If you're going to get yourself a GT350, could you learn how to drive in it? Absolutely, you could. But do you need all that performance capability? You'll eventually learn how to use all of that, but it'll take you some time to learn to grow into the capabilities of that GT350 or that race car type of performance that you're going to get from that Mustang. Do you need all the performance when you're first learning? You're going to get yourself into trouble, just like you would in a car. You're going to get yourself into trouble having all that performance because you're going to be tempted to use it before you're ready to use it. Same thing with the UAVs or the drones, as you guys want to call them. Get yourself something that's easy to learn with, learn how to manipulate the controls. Get something that Dad can go out there and work with, or your son, or whatever you're going to be purchasing, and let them learn on something that's going to be simple. Then you can graduate up to something that's going to have more performance. kind of the same principle we were just talking about with the Shelby Mustangs and you know, needing all that power. So those of you that are thinking about getting the Phantom 4 and you want to use the head plate for FPV, one thing to remember though is you're going to need to get the other part 54 is what they call it. This is the HDMI out, because with these transmitters, when they're first shipped to you, they do not have any HDMI out. So you're going to be required to buy this part. They're roughly $100. Talk to Frank over at Carolina Drones. I'm sure he has these in stock. Really easy to install. And once you have that on there, you can now have the HDMI output for attaching your goggles onto that. So I will try to do some more stuff coming up. We'll talk a little bit more later on about what we see happening in the drone industry. We'll talk maybe about some of the new articles that are coming out on the Hover. And until then, we'll talk to you all later. Fly safe. Thanks again for subscribing, guys. If you haven't already, please do. I'll see you on the next video.